Well, hello everyone. We're back. It's another Sunday night live from the Podding Shed. How are you all doing? How is everything going? It's been a absolutely lovely weekend down here on the south coast. We've it's beautiful sunshine, although I've got my coat on now because it is actually getting quite chilly out there. I noticed just as I was coming on down to the shed this evening. As always, I'd like to start off by letting you know what I've been up to this weekend. But firstly, of course, if you want to call in, the numbers across the bottom of the screen. And coming up a bit later, we're going to be talking about what's your experience with polytunnels. But while we wait for everyone to join in, what have I been up to this weekend? Well, I had a day yesterday at home where I managed to first cut the lawn, mowed the lawn for the first time this year. Also meant I could chop up a lot of our waste that ends up going into the compost bin anyway. This is my way of using a lawnmower to chop everything up and get everything chopped up nice and small, which makes my composting a lot faster and a lot better. Added to that, what else have we been doing? We've planted out some onions and we planted out some spinach under cloches at the moment. So that's keeping us going ready for this year. And today I went down the allotment. I had a good few hours down on the allotment. Beautiful sunshine down there. I've probably got a bit of sunburn, but we don't mind that. But I made sure I was drinking plenty of water this time. What did I do? I've built some new beds, filled up some more beds with compost. I've mulched the garlic with a lot of grass clippings. Basically, I've been doing a hell of a lot of work and get myself ready for this growing season. Now let's have a quick look in the comments and see what everyone's talking. There's a lot of chat going on. Fantastic. So we got Ballycillian. Hello to you. Turbo Stream has joined us. Good evening from a chilly Birmingham. Ballycillian is saying it's a lovely sunny day in Belfast. Oracle is saying hello to you all. Adrian Cable, hello to you. Nui99, good evening to you. Ed Loud, good evening to you. Hargrave Gas, good greetings from Suffolk. I'm early this week. Stuart Jackson, hello to you. Stuart, I did get your email. I've got to respond to it. So I'll send you a Facebook message at a later point. Margaret Peacock, good evening to you. Turbo Stream, I planted out my broad beans this week on the allotment. Don't forget to leave in the comments what you've been up to on your own allotment or garden. Yeah, I put my broad beans out last week and they're all doing really quite well. Checked on them today. Half expected some of my broad beans to be uplifted by the birds, but fortunately they were still solid in the ground. I've got hundreds of other broad beans as spares, so they're not going to be needed. I've got to find a home for some other broad beans. Oracle going well, Richard. Sun's out all day. It's lovely, isn't it, when the sun's out? Absolutely loving it at the moment. I know we're getting rain later on this week, but I'm just loving the sunshine that we've had this weekend. Matthew Holdsworth, good evening to you. Ernie, evening, Richard. I trust you're well and busy in the garden over the weekend. Very busy. A lovely day for a long walk. Sadly, no gardening, too much to do indoors. Yes, the wife keeps telling me to do more indoors, but I've got to do what I want to do outside, in all honesty. Matthew Holdsworth mowed the lawn yesterday too. So, Turbo Stream, I'm jealous of everyone with sunshine this weekend. Hardly any here this weekend. That's a shame. You've missed out. You've missed out a lot. What else have we got? Hello, this is somebody in the Facebook group. Unfortunately, if you're watching in the Facebook group, I can't see who you are due to Facebook rules, but leave a comment and I'll try and see it. Good evening to my dad. Mowed the lawn this weekend too. Funnily enough, I used the lawnmower that you gave me as well, just to bring that back into that. And Stuart Jackson, I have done the following: chilies potted on, sown carrots, peas, and lots of flowers. Busy, busy, busy there, as always. Now, if you do want to zap yourself into the appear on screen, let me just add the link in the comments. There we go. The link should be in the comments now if you want to zap yourself in and appear on screen to add to this conversation. Just quickly, Philly SPB was lovely weather here, too early to plant. Here we always start after St. Paddy's Day. Yeah, St. Paddy's Day for me is always the day I plot my potatoes out, and usually my onions. I've just done some a bit earlier here, but they're under a cloche, so they should be okay. Steve is in the house. Mr. Digwell Green Fingers, hello to you. And we've also got Amanda Joy, who emailed me after last week's show about this question that we're asking today. But first of all, I thought we were about to have somebody appear on the screen there, but he disappeared again. So let me bring up this question that I've been asked. What's your experience with polytunnels? Now, this, as I said, it comes from Amanda, who is thinking about buying a polytunnel for her, I think, either her allotment or her garden. I can't quite remember what she said. Now, my experience with polytunnels has not been that great. I'll be honest. On my old allotment site, I had 2, and each of them lasted a year at the most. Admittedly, it was a very, very, very windy site. We were up on top of a hill, and if we looked out, we would just see the English Channel. It was very, very close to the sea, up high on a hill, very, very windy site. And the 2 of these are the type that you would buy from Wilkinson's. They were still the curved type, but they're obviously Wilkinson's like £80 to £100, I think. I didn't find they were easy to build, and I weighed them down with a lot of sand. I weighed them down with as much as I could. I'm an ex-scout. I used to put tents up all the time. All the guy ropes, everything went into there as it should. Added to that, we did have a very sandy soil there, so anything I stuck in the ground would come out quite easy. Well, these polytunnels that I had, when the wind got up, it just swept right across the place, and I ended up losing both of my polytunnels. Basically, the poles snapped and got broken. I've got 2 greenhouses, and I've had less trouble from the greenhouses, particularly the one at home, because that's made of perspex. Since I put that up, there was one day shortly after I put it up where we had a few loose nuts and bolts, which I quickly sorted. But on a whole, my greenhouses, no problem. Some of the glass on the greenhouse on the allotment does get smashed from time to time. Again, that's expensive to repair. Polytunnels, however, a lot of people on my allotment site do have polytunnels, but when the wind gets up, I do see them getting. Just realised the shed sign's gone. Oh no, it is still working. Just the batteries are going. Yeah, the polytunnels on my allotment site, I do see from time to time the wind seems to come through and sweep them over, especially quite recently. People on my other side of the road from my allotment, their one was quite badly damaged. The person to the top, theirs had blown right the way over. Yet my greenhouse stood there absolutely fine, no problems. So that's my experience with polytunnels. Over to you guys. Let me know what you think of polytunnels and whether you've had any experience. You can leave a comment, obviously, in the comments on the screen. You can zap yourself in if I add the link again just to make sure if you want to come in and chat, or you can call in on the phone number, which is 07307 135 174. Let's have a quick look at the comments and see what people are saying. We have a caller first. Hello, caller. What's your name and where you calling from?
Where's Richard? See where I go.
Hello. How are you doing, Oracle?
Oh, dead on, Richard.
Good.
Just in your wee polytunnel thing there, so it is.
Yeah.
I was in the allotment site there, and we had very different types of polytunnels.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're allowed to say where you buy them, but I don't want to take you any trouble. But there was one was coming in a very lot. It was a 3 metre by 6 metre.
Yeah.
And it had a green cover on it.
Right.
And it wasn't a zip door; it was a solid door. The metal around it with a green cover on the door.
Oh right, yes, I know the type.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people seem to buy them on our site, so there was. Now, what I found of it was, do you see the bars, unless you got real good heat stick tape to deflect the heat around the bars, do you see the green sheet that went over the top of it, the cover?
Yeah.
Do you see, it was mad the way it was, as if there was netting put for it, and then this plastic put over it, if you know where I'm coming from, Richard.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from, yeah.
You see, for some reason, after a year, even with that there, it's like wee squares started falling out of them.
Right, okay,
the cover, So then a lot of people ended up down to this fellow that got at the game. I don't want to say the name of on the show. A lot of people then started going down and getting these skins of this fella who sells them. Now, when we went down, you want to see this, it's amazing. He actually grows for Tesco's.
Oh, right.
So you may guess how many polytunnels this boy has. It's unbelievable. You need to see it to believe it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And these people working for him. Well, he sells the skin, and he would sell big tunnels too. But as I say, we were just down for the skin. Now, people reskin them tunnels, right? Now, personally, my one cost me £24 to skin.
Right.
When this here, and it was a 5-year guarantee with UV light.
Yep.
Right? Now, personally, I thought it was brilliant at the time. You know what I mean? You have to try it. You don't know these things until you try them.
Yeah.
But after a couple of years, I found out it was crap. Right?
Yeah.
So there was another person got a skin. I don't know if anyone on here has heard of it. A diffused skin.
Yeah.
Now it was coming in at £12 a square metre.
Yeah.
Right? Now, see when that skin went on the tunnels, there was no looking back.
Yeah.
Honestly, you want to see it and see the heat on it. No, it was brilliant. But what they done, you see the door. They took the door off and took the metal frame out and got a bit of slating off.
Yeah.
Put the slating off around as a door frame.
Right. Yeah.
Joined it on the side and made a netting door and put scaffold netting around it.
Oh right. Okay. Then that helped.
And then see the cut off of the skin, because you can't just go down there and ask for a 2 metre skin. The common, I think it's the smallest you can get 7 metres.
Yeah.
And then it goes right up. I think it's near 20 metres. But you can get any length if you know where I'm coming from.
Yes. Yeah. I see where you're coming from. Yeah.
So the offcut, you were able to make like a curtain for the door.
Yeah. Yeah. And that worked better.
Yeah. So we found, what we found there was, you know, you were buying the tunnel. Now, as I say, we were building them on planks and bolting them down on the plank that they weren't able to move, and anchoring it in the corners. So we had no problems down there with bars breaking or nothing. Where our problems come from was the skin. Until, again, it was tried and error, everyone different things. And there was a fella got a diffused skin, and no one's looked back from the diffused skin. Like, it's been the way forward, you know. But I say, I don't know if anyone's any other experiences, but that's the I found with the tunnel.
Yeah. I actually found that the poles were the weakest point in the ones that I had, but that's the cheaper end of the market on those. And it sounds what you're saying is when it comes to the more expensive ones, you're best off getting the more expensive skin because they last so much longer.
Well, for talk's sake, the tunnels that were coming onto that site, see for the the 6 for free.
Yeah.
It was £118, and that was postage and all, and that's with a cover.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so really, it was dear, but it wasn't that dear if you know where I'm coming from. And we also put it on planks and not burying it. The water wasn't getting to the pole.
Right. Okay.
So that's saved the poles, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I see what you mean. Definitely.
Yeah. So what we found then was the skin. As I say, it was a load of people come in. You know yourself, Richard. That's the best thing about the show. People come in with different ideas, and everyone picked up different things. But the way we found was, if you put a wooden bed down, set the tunnel on top of it, and fix it to the wooden bed.
Yeah.
And then buy that diffused skin.
Yeah.
No one's looked back from it.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's something different.
You know yourself. You get out of it what you put into it. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's definitely something that is worth bearing in mind for Amanda who's looking to buy one. Is that look at the skin and see what you can get on the options for that.
But what my advice to Amanda would be is, if you're going to buy a tunnel, try and see if it's a metal thin tubes about 25 mil. My advice would be put it in wood.
Yeah.
As it does it because I know what you mean. They are very brittle going into the ground and they will break.
Yes.
Once you put it in wood and it's 4 posts each corner, it steadies it right up, Richard.
Right.
And then again, the skin, it is worth. Although you may say to yourself that skin's broken 2 years, the one the sand, or it might be alright for you, I don't know. But when you get the diffused skin, it's worth every penny.
Yes, definitely.
It definitely is, you know.
Yes, no, definitely. Okay, well, we can let Amanda know about that then.
No worries, Richard.
Yeah, lovely.
Over and out from the Origo.
Lovely to speak to you again. You take care.
Yeah, God bless, son. God bless.
God bless to you too. Take care. Hey, there we go. That was Oracle from Northern Ireland. Now, during that, I could see we had somebody just sitting there patiently. Stuart, hello, mate.
Good afternoon or evening, whatever. It's getting dark, so it's evening. Yeah, polytunnels. Oh,
yes.
Yeah, it's getting dark here.
Yeah.
Buy what you can afford. Yeah.
Buy what you can afford.
We got one at school. At school. We were really lucky. We were given sponsorship for a show garden, and we had money left over. So rather than it get soaked into school budget, we asked for a polytunnel. Cost about £500.
Yeah.
It's 8 meters by 8 by 4. Yeah, 8 by 4.
That's 8 by 4. That's quite big, isn't it?
It's quite big. It's 6 by 4. 6 by 4. 6 by 4. I'm just trying to think how many children are getting it. 6 by 4.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And when we looked at them, I won't mention the company's name, but they are the #1 polytunnel seller. That we rung them up and said, look, this is for a school. Can you do us anything? They did give us a little bit of discount, but nothing that you wouldn't probably get if you didn't bargain with them anyway, like at a show. But I think it was just over 500 quid, but we got it put up for nothing.
Right.
And I will say, get somebody that knows what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's this. We had it. Framework got put up, and the guy that put it up cut the skin wrong, so we had to wait for second skin to come.
Oh.
It is all marked. It is all from this company. It is all marked where you need to cut.
Right.
Somebody didn't read the instructions.
Oh right. Oh yeah. I mean that's interesting what I'm saying, because I've always. I guess the ones I mostly see on our allotment sites are those cheap, I want to call them a cheap ones, but I don't mean that in a derogatory term, but they're the ones you can get from Wilkinson's at about, let's say, around the £100 mark.
Yeah.
Some people have been very, very lucky with them in many cases, but most of them, especially during the winter, I see them flying off across the allotment for whatever reason.
Yeah, I had one. I bought one before I had the greenhouse. Waste of money. Complete waste of money.
Yeah, that was my impression of it as well. And I swore since I've been through two, I'd never buy one of those again. Now, that being said, because I've thought about getting a polytunnel on my current allotment, but if I was to buy one, I'll be buying one at the £300 mark at least. One that's got the poles that
well,
are...
then if you... Yeah. This one, you can put the one we got, you can put shelves up if you want to. The brackets are there to put the shelves up. We haven't, because we need as much room as possible. But I think for an allotment, you got to be looking at 400 plus because of the wind. They're normally in an open site and the wind. But if it's put up properly, it should last. Really should last, because ours has been up 3 years now. And it is in a sheltered site. We deliberately put it in a sheltered site. And there's no holes in the skin yet. And that's not bad working with children.
Yeah, of course. Working with children, they're going to take a bit of abuse. I mean, the thing I've also was thinking as I was thinking about this question is that many of the nurseries do have polytunnels as well. So there's obviously something in them that makes them preferred over greenhouses on an industrial scale.
Yeah.
But based on my experience, well, as I said, I wouldn't spend less than say £300 on them. Yeah,
but you would use it 12 months of the year. That's the beauty.
Yes.
Like somebody like me, if I had one at home, I would probably only use it 6 months of the year, and that would be in the winter. Because they get so hot in the summer. I don't know if you've seen them, the commercial ones, they roll them up.
Oh, yes.
They roll the sides up. And that's great, because we were given that option. And we said no, because I think the more you mess with it, the more likely it is to blow. You forget to drop the sides down and the wind's in. Ours is concreted in. The 6 poles are concreted in.
Yeah.
Or was it 8 poles?
Yeah. Yeah, see, on our allotment site, we're not allowed to concrete anything in, so I couldn't concrete that into the ground when I had one.
But putting it into, like the previous caller said, putting it into a wood base.
Yeah.
Then you can buy the big pegs, like they're sort of 2 foot long pegs. You could drive them through your wooden into the ground, and then hopefully that would be deep enough to stop it blowing.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I remember again going back to my one. It didn't have anything to. It had guy ropes. They were all in the ground. I popped pegs into the bottom of the poles into the ground, and I had bags of cement all the way around the skirt to hold it down, and it still got blown away.
Yeah, I think I know that experience. I've had that experience. Same as you. Because I bought, I think I got it from Wilco's, I think. And the first winter, it was in the next door's garden. Or the cover was, not the frame, the cover. And then, of course, then your tags break where you tie it onto the metalwork. So I, at school, when I said about a polytunnel, we can get one from home base or whatever. No, you go to the company that make them for a living, and there to support. If you make a mistake or like for you, you could download the instructions onto your phone and follow them. Yeah,
definitely. Well, it sounds like you're in the same thought as I am, that you've got to spend money on a polytunnel and get a good one.
Yeah, get the best you can afford. That's what I was told when we were looking. Get the best you can afford. I will email you the company we used.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah,
but
sure. All right, I think your connection is going, Stuart.
It is. I will email you the details, and then I'll carry on watching.
Okay, mate. Yeah, no worries. Lovely. Thank you.
Take care. Mate.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Let's get rid of Stuart there. So yeah, lots of people talking about this now. Turbo Stream, I have absolutely no experience with polytunnels, so I can't comment. They seem like a good idea though. Jim M, hello. I love a nice big polytunnel, but I see them get destroyed on the allotments too often. Very, very windy. Helen, hello to you. I love my polytunnel. It's a pucker one from First Tunnels with a very solid. I too live in a very windy place and have no problems. The fact that you said it came from First Tunnels, and you say it's a pucker one, it kind of reinforces what I thought, is that you need to really spend a bit of money on one and get a decent one. Digwell Green Fingers, we are not allowed polytunnels on our plots here. We've got to get permission on our plot, but it hardly ever is a problem. I would be worried in high winds and the damage it might cause if it blew away. I would consider a mini one though. Edwin Cable, my polytunnel is sitting packed up in a barn as I haven't had time to invest in it. Lee Connolly, hey ho, how we looking, man? Sorry I'm late. No problem. How you doing, buddy? Money Boots has joined us. Good evening to you. Turbo Stream. They seem to be very popular with YouTubers that I watch. Yeah, they are very, very popular. Dippy Plotter seems to be showing some Z's. Saying hello. Thank you for that advice. That's great. This is coming from Amanda, who's looking at buying a polytunnel. So we're kind of getting an idea of what to buy. What else have we got? If they're flying off across the allotment, then it's not the fault of the manufacturer, but the fault of the installer not anchoring properly. And I totally agree with what you're saying there. The thing is, when I had mine, I couldn't do any more than what I did to anchor it down. I mean, there was bags of sand all the way around mine to hold it down. But I do agree, if I could drill into the ground, cement it into the ground, I would. You need to invest in the tunnel and it will last the test of time, definitely. Money Boots, you can buy different quality grade covers, which is what Oracle was saying on the phone as well. As you talked about last week, my first allotment, I had to get a polytunnel as greenhouses were not allowed by council rules. That's something we did have to we did discuss last week, and how some of the rules make sense or don't make sense. I know of, I don't know if he's watching tonight, of some people who are not allowed sheds on their allotments, which just seems crazy. I used post foam instead of concrete. I just used it on my first greenhouse and I cannot lift a single corner. Never heard of post foam, but yeah, if it's like postcrete, then yeah, definitely if you can. Could you not put your poles in 5-gallon containers of cement and bury them? I possibly could have done. I didn't think of that at the time, but I possibly could have done. And that might be something to consider if I'd ever buy another polytunnel. My first one, Money Boots found that out, is again 6 square meters. Which, yeah. Helen, I think part of the problem is to think of a polytunnel as an equivalent to a greenhouse. It definitely isn't. It's simply a season extender. We eat fresh salad 12 months a year, and it enables me to produce enough tomatoes that as a household of 4 adults, we have only just started to buy tins in March. Definitely. And that's where I was thinking about getting a polytunnel on the allotment. I've got 2 greenhouses, one at home, one on the allotment, but I was thinking perhaps an extra polytunnel as an extender. I've probably gone against that idea now, in all honesty, but it was going to be an idea. Money Bits, I help cover 3 very large tunnels, 12 meters long. I think the most secure way to fit the cover is to trench around the edges and bury the polythene. Something else, yeah, I tried doing that as well. It didn't work in my case, but I was on a very, very sandy soil. And I think that was the trouble. The sandy soil just didn't hold anything in. Amanda is saying that would be great to get the name of the company. Thanks. I was looking at ones that were about £200, but seemingly it's worth spending a little more to get one that will last. Yeah, definitely, Amanda. I think it's worth getting one a little bit more expensive. I will, when Stuart emails me, I'll email you what he says as well. The company, First Tunnels was one of the companies that came up. Good evening to you. A lot mental. Apply the cover in warm weather. It will be supple and become very taut as it cools down. Yeah. Very interesting show so far from Ed Loud. No chance of a polytunnel here anytime soon, but love learning about these things. There we go. It's what it's all about. We're all about this learning. And Money Boots, a guy on my site bought a cheap 6x3 meter tunnel for just over £100. The frame was brilliant quality, but the cover was rubbish and it only lasted a year. He bought a good quality cover and fitted that. Yeah, but that's sort of similar to my what I had with mine. Now, I spent on both of them, I think about £100 on each of them. And the trouble, as I said, because it was on a sandy soil, the wind came along and it ripped it all out, that sandy soil. I did everything, although I've got a few ideas now of what else I could have done, but I did weigh it down and did as well I could to hold it down. But it took the frame with it as well, and that twisted the frame. I think they also started going rusty as well, the frames, if I remember right. And with all that bending and twisting, they didn't last. They did not last. Money Boots, Premier Tunnels and Northern Polytunnels Premier Tunnels and Northern Polytunnels, two more very good companies to buy polytunnels from. And Helen said, I'm so desperate for a greenhouse. I'm hoping my premium bombs come up. I'm just going to add the link. If anybody wants to zap themselves in and appear on the screen, the link is now going out on the Facebook page and the YouTube channel. But if you're in a Facebook group, due to Facebook's rules, it's probably not going into there. Just head on over to the Facebook page if you do want to find out that more, or you can call in on 07307 135 174 or leave a comment and I shall see it. Philly SPB, I'm going to have a good look at this before I buy now. It's getting good to hear the different side of this. I think this is the great thing that, and this is what I was hoping that by talking about polytunnels, we would get a good range of experience and advice for people such as Amanda or Philly who are looking to buy a polytunnel, and we can share our experience from them. And that's a great thing with these live shows where I get the chance to have a chat with everyone and find out a bit more about what's going on. So keep your thoughts coming in on the polytunnel discussion. If anybody knows of, we got First Tunnels, Premier Tunnels, and Northern Polytunnels. Anybody else knows of any good polytunnel manufacturer as well? Leave that in the comments as well, and we'll get in touch with the people that need to find one. Just gonna have a swig of my coffee. Let's see. Turbo Stream, my little quarter pot is too small for a tunnel. Shame, as I quite like the idea of one to extend the growing season. Yeah, that's actually a good point. That I do consider myself very, very lucky to be able to have a greenhouse both at home and both on the allotment, because my greenhouses are both, well, my one at home is 6 foot by 6 foot. My greenhouse on the allotment is 8 foot by 6 foot. So they're both pretty big. And if I only had a quarter plot, that would probably take up quite a bit of space. I think our rules only allow us a greenhouse up to the size of 8 foot by 6 foot. So it's just got in there on terms of size. Polytunnels, we have no restrictions on polytunnels. We've just got to get permission before we can have one. Jim M, I wonder how much these enormous commercial polytunnels cost. Actually, that's That's a very good question, and I hit upon this when I was chatting to Stuart, because I was thinking a lot of the commercial places will only have polytunnels. Some of the older ones, thinking about it, probably did have greenhouses, but certainly the newer ones tend to use polytunnels. And I'm guessing that's probably because they cost a lot less to build, to replace or repair than what they do for greenhouses with all that glass. I'm going to be a bit telling of what I used to do as a kid in the village I grew up in. We had a large nursery nearby, and there was footpaths and mud tracks that we used to ride our motorbikes up and down on. But as kids, think we would I feel rather ashamed to admit this, but we would end up getting stones and throwing them at these polytunnels. I dread to think how much damage we caused to that, and it was very naughty. But I had one friend who would throw stones at anything, and if he saw a greenhouse, there would be a stone thrown at it as well, which is the advantage, I guess, over polytunnels. I think probably they might rip. It's easy to fix a rip than it is to replace a pane of glass. But also a stone might bounce off the polytunnels and therefore get less damage as well. So definitely something to the polytunnels over greenhouses. Amanda, I do actually have a walk-in pop-up greenhouse in my garden at home. That was £50, and I'm on my 4th year with it. There you go. Touch wood, it's been fine, but I needed to replace the cover once. After a poly A glass greenhouse will be next on my list. That I think. Again, but my understanding or my experience with these walk-in pop-up greenhouses is you need somewhere to protect them. They need to be very sheltered. Digwell, if you ever look at commercial tunnel, you will see it's made with 2-inch steel tubing, etc. Not on our scale. You say not on our scale, but the guy on my allotment to the side of me has got a polytunnel with 2-inch steel tubing. I think his skin did blow off once when his polytunnel was quite new, but he got a load of clamps to hold it onto the bars. But the actual polytunnel itself, he's had it 2-3 years now, I suppose. The actual polytunnel itself, the frame has been absolutely fine. So again, I don't know how much he spent on that, but definitely 2-inch. And that's probably the size. If I was to buy one, I would look at going. I suppose it proves that polytunnels can last a while if the commercial producers are using them. Yeah. I mean, there's a reason that the commercial producers obviously use them and use them a lot. I suspect it might have something to do with, as Helen says, Scallywag, I'm shocked. Which is, I suspect that the polytunnels are much better for the kids who are vandals, and I put myself in that category back then. I only did it once. Not that that makes it okay. Here we go. Right. Let's add the link. If you want to zap yourself in, the link is... Oh, what have we got? Link is on the screen. Oh. Let me get my buttons right. There we go. Stuart Jackson. I have just checked with the company we used. It was First Tunnels. The customer service was amazing with each tunnel. They send you a book called Growing in a Tunnel, which was really helpful for the children. So, yeah, I think we've got 3 companies out there that we seem to be recommending. It's going to be cheaper for a commercial grower to put a polytunnel than erecting a massive greenhouse. Actually, I keep driving around as I do for work around here, and we've got some just down the road here, and I know some over just north of Brighton, where they have got these massive old greenhouses, and I mean massive. They're almost like garden centres. Like if you look at many old garden centres, you see they're made out of greenhouses. these are the two places I can think of that in fact, there's one up by Reigate thinking about it as well. But these huge greenhouses aren't in use anymore. They're just either the nursery that was there is closed down or whatever. They're very, very, very abandoned. These huge greenhouses. I mean, they're as big as houses, these things. And it makes me think that it seems such a shame that they are abandoned because of how much cost has gone into making them originally, producing them, etc., etc. And it seems like a bit of a waste that these things are abandoned and not being used at all. I feel quite sad about that now, talking about that. Not sure what manufacturers use them, but wiggle wire is a good, fast way of fixing the cover to the frame. I've not heard of wiggle wire, so perhaps Muddy Boots, Nigel, you could leave a little bit of a either call in or just leave a bit of a write-up on what wiggle wire is. Stuart Reynolds, hello mate, how you doing? Still not sorted that door, Rich. Well, it's not so windy today, so I'm not too bothered by it. But no, I do know that I've got a lock somewhere. I just haven't found it. But yeah, I'll sort it. I will sort it. Our allotments are exposed to southwest winds. This is from Ballyslean allotments. So all polytunnels face southwest. So the smallest area of the polytunnel is exposed to strong winds. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and trying to minimise the area that is going to catch the most amount of wind, definitely. Facebook uses somebody in the Facebook group. Unfortunately, I can't see who. Can you not buy one on the cheap? You might be able to buy a second-hand one. Definitely something to think about. I probably wouldn't buy a second-hand one personally, purely because I suspect by the time you've brought the frame, the skin is going to need replacing, and there's a very good chance that the poles are possibly. But if you are lucky and you can find a good one that is being gone on second hand, it might be a way to go. I have just installed my first polycarbonate greenhouse in the back garden. Fantastic. A 900-watt heater keeps it at 16 degrees C all day and night when it's 2 degrees C outside. Not sure if a tunnel could do that. Well, that is one of the advantages over a greenhouse, is that it does lend itself better to having a heater in there. A 900-watt heater isn't all that powerful either, so it does quite well at keeping a 16 degrees C inside a greenhouse all day. And polycarbonate is certainly a lot better at retaining heat as well compared to glass or single poly plastic like I've got. Shed sign, Rich. Shed sign. It's on the batteries. I think the batteries have gone. Bit late, sorry, but happy to get here now. Hello, Andrew. Hope you are well. Stu Jackson has a question for us. I have a broken glass sheet in my greenhouse. What thickness do I need? If memory serves me correctly, it's usually 3 or 4 mil thickness. I think if you go to a glazer's and just say you need a greenhouse panel, they'll have one on the shelf, I would imagine. For me, it costs £6 a panel, but you might be able to get it a bit cheaper somewhere else. But yeah, 3 or 4 mil is the standard, I believe. IB. Oh, it was IB in it's Ian Beddoes in the Facebook group. Never heard of this wire before. So yeah, Nigel, what is wiggle wire? Let us know. Let us know what wiggle wire is. Polycarbonate also diffuses the sun, so less chance of sun scorch. Yeah, I mean, again, that's something I find with polycarbonate as well. It's it's less likely to. I quite like polycarbonate. I had to get rid of it on my old shed, the potting shed, because I dread to think how old that polycarbonate was. It was here when I bought this house, and I inherited it. And the bloke who lived here before, he was a bit of a builder and done up old buildings, but I think he salvaged what he could and used in his own house. Trust me, the amount of things we found that are like that. I suspect, I should say, he probably salvaged that polycarbonate off a job site that he was working on and used it to build this shed or this greenhouse for his wife. But after the years, I had it 5 years that I lived here. The polycarbonate had gone so brittle and discoloured that it didn't take much to break it, or it wasn't really letting any light in. 5 years, though, that's pretty good for the investment, I think. Nigel was saying 3 mil float glass, or Digwell is also saying measure the old glass. The thought of that thin horticultural glass scares me to death. Yeah, I use horticultural glass on my greenhouses. I don't find it a problem personally, but I know what you mean. It can be very, very, very sharp. I believe some horticultural glass is actually designed to, a bit like car glass, to shatter and not be so sharp. Nigel was saying, check the link above for wiggle wire. I can't see the link. Let me just go. Yeah, no, I can't see the link, I'm afraid. It may be in the comments on YouTube if anybody wants to find out more on that. Adrian Cable, just use greenhouse grade, definitely. Oracles, ask for 4 mil for the greenhouse. I did remember reading that actually there was a choice of like 3 or 4 mil, and the 4 mil would be cheaper for some reason. Like I said, I just went into our local glass window seller and just said I needed a couple of sheets of greenhouse glass, and it came off the shelf ready to go. It was about £6 a pane, and that's all I really needed. The difficulty, of course, is if you've got the triangles that we have where I don't know what I call it, the eaves of the greenhouse come up and you get those triangles. Getting those just right is the trickiest bit that I've got. Ian Beddoes, is sawdust good for the compost heap? Hope so. I've been cutting up pallets and put 3 buckets full in the heap to mix in soon. Yeah. Good question, Ian. I throw sawdust in with my compost heap all the time. If you're using pallets, there's a good chance it's probably untreated wood, so it'll be okay. But what you will need when you mow the lawn, obviously, add that in to mix it up. But yeah, I have no problems using sawdust in my compost heaps. It's a source of your brown material, so mix it with your green materials and it's absolutely fine. All right, Google wiggle wire. Let's see if I can. No, I won't do that. No, I won't do that today. I'll have a look at it and find out more about it because I've never heard of it before. I have 4 mil toughened in my Rhino glass greenhouse. So yeah, 4 mil is, I think that's what I've got, but toughened is obviously better. I think that's helped Stuart out quite a bit there, so that's good. Oh, we have a caller. Hello, caller. What's your name and where you're calling from?
Good morning. Good evening, Richard. It's Durka from Canada.
Hello. How you doing?
Good. You?
Yeah. Very well, thank you. Lovely to hear from you again.
Thank you. I'm really glad you guys are all on, and so I'm assuming you're all healthy?
Oh, yes. Yeah. No problems here this week. Could all change, but I think we're doing well.
Yeah. So I'm just curious. I think I have wiggle wire on my what I would call greenhouse, but I'm starting to be confused. I think maybe it's just a translation thing, kind of, sort of.
Uh-huh.
But I have wiggle wire, and what wiggle wire is exactly it. If I'm the same thing, it's actually a wire that zigzags, but it's not pointy on the sides; it's blunt. You know what I mean? Like a zigzag has, like, if you zigzag, it's pointy, but these are not; they're blunt. And then what happens is you lay the polytunnel or the poly over it's not a trough; it's a channel.
Yeah.
And then you stick the wiggle wire in over the poly into the channel, and it holds the poly in place.
Oh, right. So it's almost like a clip.
Yes, except it's the pieces that we have come in 4 foot lengths.
Oh, wow, 4 foot lengths. That's definitely that's definitely quite a bit bigger than I thought it was going to be. In fact, Nigel has just said in the comments, it's like a long zigzag wire that clips into a channel, which is what you're saying as well.
Oh, yes.
Oh, well, there you go. You learn something new every day. Because if I remember right, you've got quite a few of what we call polytunnels in your backyard.
No, the little ones you were talking about were actually, they're a fine mesh, almost like nylons women would wear.
Yeah.
Stockings.
Yeah.
And it's to keep the insects off of my plants that are in there. But what I found last year is that it's keeping some out, but it's also keeping the insects out that would attack the bad insects. So it worked and it didn't. So I thought it was unfortunate, but for the white butterfly on the brassicas, it works amazing.
Yes. Funnily enough, I remember a few years ago putting that stuff over my brassicas, and we had I had a load of gnats on the inside, or black fly or something, and Lotman Life, who's just joined the chat, actually said to me in a comment, well, the trouble is it's not letting the birds in to eat the insects that are causing the trouble.
Yes, but there are also tiny wasps that go after, like the brown marmorated stink bug. This is a really good example. You guys have those stink bugs, brown marmorated stink bugs. They come from Asia.
Yes.
And then so in Asia, there's also, where these stink bugs are from, there's also a wasp there. And that wasp likes to lay its eggs in the eggs of the brown marmorated stink bug, but then those die. The wasp eggs live, but the other ones die.
Right.
So it's I'm so dead in the head this morning. I just got up, kind of, right?
Yeah.
So, but they are then. I can't think of it. Never
parasitic
mind.
wasps, aren't they? Parasitic wasps. Yeah.
What is the difference between a polytunnel and a greenhouse?
Right, I guess I would define a greenhouse as being a more solid structure. So generally speaking, it would have glass windows, but it could also be polycarbonate, whereas a polytunnel would have more of a skin-like material, a polythene cover, I guess, would be the way I describe it.
So we just replaced our poly this year because the UV in it was wearing out. But otherwise, the poly was good enough to go for, I don't know how many more years, right? Like, I mean, that would only be a guess. But it was 9 years old at the time. Like, this year would have been the 9th year that poly was still on that tunnel.
Oh, wow. So it lasts quite a while.
Yes, but as I did tell you before, the roof, the top part of my tunnel is 2 layers of plastic, and then there's a fan that blows air into the 2 layers to keep it taut.
Yeah.
To keep it tight.
Right. Yeah.
And then so when the wind blows, it's not that much of an issue.
Right. Yes. That makes a lot more sense because wind is always an issue with these things.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
So.
Nigel was saying a polytunnel is a large hoop house.
Yeah, see, but that's funny because mine are hoops as well, but they're galvanized metal, and they there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 11 hoops, and they are in essentially 5-gallon buckets of cement, and those buckets are buried into the ground.
Right. Wow. Yeah. That certainly seems like the way to go if I was to do another one. Bury those in the ground.
See, and I would think that would be okay for an allotment, because you could basically, when you leave or whatever, you just pick up the bucket out of the ground if it's still in one piece and just take it with you, right?
I think that would be a way around it, but whether the council or whoever runs the allotments agrees with us is another thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yes.
I'm very thankful for mine. I don't have heat in it, but we really do enjoy it.
Right. Yeah.
And ours also has roll-up sides.
Right. Yes, that's something that we were discussing earlier as well, actually, about roll-up sides. Yeah.
But you can also get vents that have mechanisms that have thermometers in them, so that when it gets too hot in the polytunnel, that they open automatically to let some of the heat out. I don't have those. I'm just not that rich, but they do exist.
Right. Yes. I have heard of those. We have them on the greenhouses, but the polytunnels as well. There we go. So that might be something for anybody looking to buy one, wants to spend a bit more money and get the control better. Look at automatic opening vents.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm not going to hog your time. I thank you kindly for taking the call. I'm glad everybody's well and ready, set, grow.
Yes. Thank you so much for calling in, Dirka. Lovely to hear from you.
And please say hello to Amanda.
Yes, I will do. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye. There we go. Called all the way from Canada. How lovely is that? Now, I did see this comment come up from Claude AFC TV. Not trolling. My friend Ivan has cut her pinky finger. Please, could you say, hope your finger is better soon, Ivan? Hope I'm pronouncing that name right. I will send it to him to cheer him up. Hope your finger gets better soon, Ivan. Hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Right, we'll close up in just a second. So as quick. Let's see what's going on. Looked at it, Money Bits, very interesting. I'd never heard of it before, but I see where it would come in handy for a tunnel. So no, I think that's talking about the wiggle wire. I'd never heard of it before, but now it's been explained to me. I can picture exactly what it is. Jim M, who would even notice a buried bucket of cement? Probably no one, but you know what some busybodies can be like sometimes on these places. As an ex-nursery man, always use anti-hotspot tape on the metal bars. But that goes in greenhouses as well, to be fair. Who would notice post foam? Again, I don't know if anybody would notice, but probably nobody. I'm surprised Robbie didn't read that message for Claude. What message for Claude? And who's Robbie? I thought I got there. Right, finally, I bought cheap solar-powered fans off eBay to help airflow in the polytunnel. They work great. I did the same, actually, except mine came from Maplin all those years ago. And actually, they did work great in the polytunnel that I had back then in order to just circulate a bit of air and help keep the humidity down. I've got to look at getting one of those again, actually, because they were pretty good. I think I'll have one in my greenhouse. Right, well, that is it for this week. So thank you so much for everyone for joining in. Let's get rid of that. Hopefully that's been of some use to Amanda and everyone else who is looking at buying a polytunnel. It certainly made me think. I think, in summary, what I would say and what I'm taking away from this is that we need to look at buying an expensive greenhouse for it to be worthwhile. I had my phone go during that phone call. Actually, let me just check in case. Oh, Nigel has sent me the link for Wigglewire, so I can have a look at that later on. Right, we'll be back again next Sunday, 6 p.m. Anybody who's got any suggestions of a topic that we can discuss next week, then please do get in touch. You can email me, richard@thevegrowpodcast.co.uk, and we can chat that. We can chat away like we've done tonight and start discussing things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and all that sort of thing. Lovely to hear from you all. Lovely to get the conversation going again. And looking... I can see Turbo Stream already is going to good info on polytunnels tonight. I'm going to go away and start looking at polytunnels quite seriously. Anyway, that's it, guys. Thanks so much, everyone. And we'll be back again next Sunday. Oh, don't forget, tomorrow's podcast, I've got Lee Connolly who's in the comments. We're talking about his Get Kids into Gardening school plan that he's released. And I'm actually interviewing Lee on his live show on the Skinny Jean Gardener tomorrow. We're going to be discussing this Get Kids into Gardening school plan in a bit more detail. That's coming up tomorrow, but keep your eye out for that. Right, guys, you take care. I'll see you all next time. Let's find out.